Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chatter Club. My name is Ade.
What's up? This is David.
So, David, what's our topic today? We have an interesting one.
Yeah, today's topic is it's about collectivism, the idea of collectivism and individualism, where the Korean culture is very much related to collectivism versus other Western societies where it's more related to individualism.
Okay, so let me ask you this question because I'm watching this video and I don't know much about Korean culture and I don't know what collectivism is.
Okay.
Can you please break it down for us?
So collectivism in a more, I guess, in a layman's term, is where you and I are considered we.
Right.
And he and she will be they.
Right.
And so you and I, we work together to accomplish something as a team.
Right.
And so when I'm thinking of something, I'm usually thinking of us.
Right.
Not just for myself.
Right.
So in that way, you're always thinking about the teamwork. You're always thinking about not just me, but for others as well. So as a result, you become more humble. You're more...
A lot of results.
There are a lot of good things related to collectivism. There's always a need for a balance, but people who grew up in Western societies where individualism is much bigger, where everything is all about you.
Right.
So you have to do this in order to survive.
Right.
But in Korea, it's more like a we thing.
It is.
So that's the whole different thing about the collectivism and the individualism.
Yeah, someone broke it down to me and they said that a more Western person, individual culture, they would think about themselves first, then everything else after. Where a person more in a collective society, they think about their family first, their community, their neighborhood. They really think about the others around them before they think about themselves. And living in Korea for 10 years, I always hear people saying like they're very careful with their group. And they do not want to be labeled as selfish. They do not want to be labeled as selfish.
Yeah.
Where being from Canada, being more Western, I don't really. Now I lived 10 years ago, but when I first came, I didn't really care about that. Right. Right. So definitely. So let's start with the positives.
For sure.
Because there are a lot of positives when it comes to, and we'll start with collectivism first, and then we'll go to individualism.
Yeah.
What are some positives about collectivism?
I mean, so in collectivism, you work with others. So obviously that teamwork comes into play. But at the same time, because of the hierarchy structure in Korea, honorifics come into play as well.
Absolutely.
So you need to kind of obey your elderly. You need to respect them in a way, but to a certain degree, hopefully. But in a lot of the times, it's to an extreme where you have to really obey them, really follow their instructions.
Right.
And so in a way, you're very humbled at your opinion. So you don't speak out your opinions. You only kind of like follow their orders. I'm sure things have been changing through the new generations with the internet and all that. But we're talking generally speaking. Hierarchy definitely plays a role here, especially in company settings, I find.
Right. If I may jump in, that's actually a huge positive, right? There are negatives and positives, but one huge positive about that, especially in companies and in government, decisions get made quickly and they get followed quickly.
Because of the hierarchy structure.
Because of that collectivism, usually it is a group, but somebody actually leads that group very strongly because of the hierarchy. So
whether it's bad decision or good decision,
it's followed.
It goes by quickly.
It goes by quickly. Yeah. And that's why in Korea, the laws here change quickly. Bylaws here change quickly. Decisions get made quickly. And a huge example of this was during COVID. Like they changed the rule. They gave everybody 48 hours to follow the rule, and everyone followed that rule right when it started. Like no one, like when I say no one, you know what I mean.
Right.
Everybody followed that rule when it kicked in. It wasn't no huge debate. Yeah, some people were kind of upset, but when they were upset, they were still following the rule.
Right.
Yeah. So I think good or bad decision in a company, government, whatever, Koreans really work together well and get the job done, and they move fast.
Right. Another positive is because a lot of the people here tend to think of others first because of the humbleness as well. Let's say as an expat, you joined a team full of Koreans, you worked on a project, and you put in very little amount of work. Okay? But your team was able to win this, I don't know, competition. Your partners, your friends will be like, we did it together.
Right. They don't take individual credit like that.
Right. So they don't take all the credits, but even though you put in like this little bit of work in it, they're like, hey, we did it together.
Right.
Because we're a team.
Right.
But like, I can imagine in Canada, hey, you did nothing, man.
Right.
It was all me.
Right.
Without me, you wouldn't have gotten this freaking prize.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Usually, like I go to some events, so I did like a little bit of volunteering, or I just at my school or something, and sometimes we'll take a picture and they just throw me in the front. You know, I didn't even do anything.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, come on, you did a good job, right? And thank you for your hard work. And they do like the praising of others, and they don't try to take the individual credit.
For sure. Right. So there are definitely positives, but there are also the negatives, which we also want to talk about.
Sure.
And one of the things is, it all kind of goes down to learning English as well. I mean, we talked about this in other episodes, but because you're in a collective environment and because you don't want to let the team down,
Right.
you're always afraid of not speaking out. And because that kind of follows to not risking things,
Right.
which follows to not risking failure. You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of taking the challenges. You're afraid of taking that first step out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
So that you know, I'm scared of doing this because I'm afraid of failure, because I'm afraid of, you know, letting people down. I think that's one of the downfalls of this collectivism society.
Right. I actually teach this to my students that are going to America about this, because one thing I always teach my students is that don't hate what's different, appreciate it. Right? Individualism, collectivism, one is not better than the other.
Of course
They're
not.
just different, and we have to appreciate that difference. So saying that, one negative I have seen, or not negative, it's just one negative that I have seen with collectivism, is that there is a lack of confidence from time to time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen that too.
Right, and then because of that, I really do believe there has been hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of great groundbreaking ideas that never left someone's mouth because they were scared to say something.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't their turn to speak. Or they could not speak directly to that higher person. Right? They just had to kind of follow that order. Right? And because of that, I feel there is some high stress. Because in Western culture, we're more individual. We're just worried about ourselves. And worrying about ourselves is hard enough. But when you're in this kind of society, you're not only worried about yourself, you're worried about everything around you, plus your image. And that can also build up on your stress. Hence why Koreans tend to be a bit more stressed than Western people.
For sure, I agree with that as well. And that kind of leads to self-drive as well. Like you're not everyone, but generally speaking, not really driven. You don't have the motivation. So you're always looking for someone else to give you the motivation, someone else to give you the drive, a reason for you to do something. But like what I noticed in people in Canada, America, the Western societies, you find the drive on your own. You know what you want, so you have to drive to get there. But a lot of the students that I've encountered, and not just students, but friends as well, they don't really know what they want in life, but they do want this particular condition in life, which would be like, oh, I want to be richer. But they don't know how to get there. And they're lacking the confidence and the motivation. So then if I tell them stories, or if they watch something on YouTube about motivational stuff, they get motivated through that, and then they go for it.
So one of my sections that I teach is that, and there's two more parts to it. There's ego. I'll talk about ego first. Because of the collectivism, your ego is shrunk. It's crumbled. It gets shrunken down, right? And people think ego is a bad thing, and too much ego is. But you have to have ego and confidence. You have to be kind of self-delusional to think that you can do something crazy to make it happen. And because of the tight community group here, my friends have told me, like my other friends, their other friends have said like, oh, you can't do that, or why would you think like that? You're just this kind of person, you can't do that. And they kind of bring them down, right? Because, I don't know, I guess they don't want them to get too high. I don't know. But you have to have a certain level of ego and confidence to start something, to at least start it.
Right, no matter what they tell you, you have to have some sort of a bubble around you saying that whatever they say won't burst this bubble.
Right. And they don't have that here. A lot of people don't have it here, right? And that's why I tend to find in Korea, don't get me wrong, Korea's economy is thriving. It's not even, I heard it's not an emerging economy anymore. It's an economy, right?
It's developed.
Right. But a lot of people have the same goals. They have the same goals because they think they can't do anything else. They think they can't start that business. They think they can't, start that blog or do this or do that. They just want to study hard, go to Samsung, have 2.5 kids, and go to Gangnam.
2.5 kids. Half a kid?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, right. It's a statistic, right?
Okay.
But even with the birth rate going down, right? We're even hearing kids, like I teach sometimes middle school students, and I talk to middle school students, and even they're like, I don't want to have kids. High school students say, I don't want to have kids. Because it's just what everybody else is kind of just put into them. And they're just accepting it because of that hierarchical the collectivism, right? And no one thinks that they can actually break out of that bubble or break out of that cycle. They kind of follow whatever's happening to them. And I feel that is one negative that I see. For sure, it's not everybody, but it is 일반적으로, generally speaking.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That's all I have.
All right, thanks. If you like this video, you can like, comment, subscribe, and let us know at the bottom. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Let us know.
See ya.